Mr. Ritter, thanks very much for joining us here on BBC News. Harvey Weinstein's lawyers adopted some fairly aggressive questioning techniques in regards to his accusers. Can we take the fact that that strategy backfired as a victory for the Me Too movement?
I think that they might argue that that tactic may have worked to some extent, in that they did get a not guilty on at least one of the accusers and hung on the other two. It was certainly a gamble. It was certainly a high risk tactic that they expected it to have high rewards, but it didn't prevail and carry the day on that first Jane Doe where he was found guilty.
Surely one thing to robustly defend your client, another thing altogether to disparage female accusers, calling them such things as liars and opportunists and things like that. Doesn't that bring the criminal justice system itself into disrepute?
I don't know. I think part of what their job was to defend their client as zealously as they possibly could. And a lot of people could say that they crossed the line. A lot of people could say that you needed to handle that with a more delicate touch. But their tactic, their way of handling this was that they believed each of these accusers are liars. And if they're bold-faced liars, not somebody who misremembered, not somebody who's got their facts wrong, but somebody who's lying about your client, it gives you a certain amount of permission, I think, to be as aggressive as they were. Again, they would argue probably that it was successful to some extent, but obviously didn't carry the day.
But it led, didn't it, to some deeply uncomfortable moments in court. Could this sort of tactic prevent women in future such cases from coming forward?
Perhaps, yes. That's always a concern. And it's even a concern when you don't have this kind of aggressive defense tactics. It's difficult, as your reporter pointed out in the story there, for women to come forward, to go under that crucible of cross-examination is a difficult thing for any person, especially talking about something that so intimately affected their lives.
Now, what were the defence lawyers seeking to get from these women with their aggressive cross-questioning?
I think that what they had decided was that this was about people trying to make a name for themselves and people trying to pile on. You had Harvey Weinstein. He's the poster child of the Me Too movement, and that everybody was going to kick this man while he's down. That's their tactic. I think that's how they went into this case, the way they expected to defend it. And like I said, if that is how you're treating the accusers of your client, if that's what you believe them to be, or people who are lying about your client for their own benefit, to get their perhaps 15 minutes of fame, then I think you're going to be very aggressive in the way that you question them.
Mr. Ritter, many thanks for joining us here on BBC News.